How would I reboot the Muppets? So, I wanted to share some ideas I've had with how to reboot the Muppets. Let me talk about my love for the Muppets and how I grew to find them, and then I'll talk about why I think it's important that we reboot the Muppets and some ideas I have. So, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but yeah, let's talk about it. So, when I was a kid, I have grandparents. They live out about a couple hours away from me. So during the summer, I'd go out there for a week and visit them. And when I was a kid, they used to show me movies that I'd never heard of, never seen before, and I grew to love a lot of movies this way. This is the first time I ever saw Fly the Navigator, which used to be one of my favorite movies. It is somewhere. I'm sure it's in my top 20 favorite movies, but yeah, it's no longer my favorite movie of all time. Never Ending Story. Never saw that movie before. They showed me that film. I grew to see a lot of classics this way. The Muppets was one of them, and I grew a love for the Muppets. I used to watch them all the time. I loved the Muppet Show. I used to have all the movies until I upgraded a lot of them to Blu-ray, and sadly got rid of some of the ones that I thought would come to Blu-ray and never will. So I will probably be collecting those as they release, or as I find them and track them down. But yeah, I have a love for the Muppets. I love them, and I've seen all the Muppet movies, every single one, all the episodes of the Muppet Show, and the ABC Muppet Show, and Muppets Now. And I've not seen Muppets Tonight and some of the other more obscure Muppet stuff, but that's just because it's not readily available. I wasn't alive when it came out. Muppet Show, that's on Disney Plus. All the Muppet movies, again, I used to own all of them, even some of the TV movies that they did. So I love Muppets. The Muppets, Sesame Street, anything Jim Henson does. I love Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, all that type of stuff. I'm really into all that stuff. And yeah, I'm really, really a big fan of the Muppets. So, another quick story here about the Muppets. In 2011, I was in the theater going to see a different movie on a vacation with my other grandparents to the beach. And there was a poster. And the poster didn't show anything. It just had some legs of Miss Piggy, Kermit, and Fozzie. And I think the tagline said, "We're back." Now, this time when I was a kid, I thought the Muppets was done. I thought Muppets can't come back. It was kind of like when I saw Return of the Jedi as a kid. I'd seen the prequels and stuff. But in my mind, that stuff was like, okay, well that was just made before, so there wasn't more. So when I saw Return of the Jedi, I'm like, Star Wars is over. They can never ever make more Star Wars ever again. And boy, was I wrong about that. But when I was a kid, I didn't think about that. And so when I saw that poster, I was so excited. I was the biggest Muppet fan at the time. I was just like, and I was sitting there going, ooh. I was so excited. And 2011, the Muppet movie with Jason Segel and Amy Adams came out. It was Thanksgiving. I had family over, and we went to go see it. And it was my favorite movie of that year. It's one of my favorite movies ever made. It's probably one of my favorite Muppet movies ever made. I did a review for it on this channel, so you can check that out. I loved that movie. That movie, I was just in love with it and awe. And so, and everybody seemed to love that movie. Everybody who was anybody saw that movie. They loved it. It was a huge hit. It was all over the news. Manor Muppet was playing all over the radio. Won an Oscar for Best Original Song, I believe, that year. That film was a big deal that year, and people loved it. And I was one of those people. I probably love it more now, actually, than I did back then. But, so 2015 rolled around. Or was it 2013, whatever. It was a few years later, and they released, I think it was 2014. Yeah, it might have been 2015, I don't know. But they came out with Muppets Most Wanted. And this was This was a one that came out and got a lower reception than the first film, and and it didn't do as well as the first movie. Now, by no means did this film bomb. It just, typically with a sequel, you put more money into the sequel because the first movie made money. So you want to make the sequel better, put more money in it, put more backing into it, right? Because it's obvious, and it's also a guaranteed hit. So they did that with the sequel. And so what that means is with the sequel, you expect a higher return on your investment. And so studios always want their sequels to do better than the first movie. It just makes sense, right? It did not do that. Now, again, did not bomb, but it didn't. It did. It wasn't the spark that was there before. It wasn't like, wow, the Muppets are back. And I think that was kind of the thing with the 2011 Muppet movie. Is like the excitement of them coming back was what drove people to that movie. And with this one, it made money. People still saw it. People still liked it. I don't think anybody was like, man, this film was terrible. It sucks. I think most people watched it and they're like, it's not as great as the first one. And I think that was kind of the reception. And that's kind of the thing in the movie. They even have a song called We're Doing a Sequel. And in that song, they say, the sequel's never quite as good. That's one of the lines in it. And it's kind of a self-aware jab at sequels. But I think they themselves knew that they maybe weren't making a movie that was as good as the first movie. But I think that's okay. It's still a really fun movie. It's still a really great movie. When I saw it, I liked it more than the first one. But I've since changed my mind on it. I like the 2011 one significantly more. I still really like Muppets Most Wanted, but less so. But yeah. I think some people actually like Muppet Most Wanted a lot more too because it had a lot more Muppets. I think there was like a criticism back in 2011 where it's too much humans. I don't really feel that. I felt like it worked in the story and it blended together really well. But teach their own, I guess. But yeah, I really like that. And so when the ABC Muppet Show came out after that, I think this is what really killed the franchise because I think Disney knew that making another movie probably wasn't the best choice, so it was time to bring the Muppets back to TV. And advertising for this show was everywhere, and so, yeah, people tuned in the first episode, and a lot of people did not like this show. It was very adult. Now, Muppets were always aimed at adults, but I think because they're puppets, most people see it as a kids thing. And it's not to say like, oh, kids can't watch the Muppets. No, of course they can, but it's like, are kids gonna understand the in-jokes with the celebrities and things like that? Probably not. And this one obviously had more adult humor, more adult situations. It was in this vein and style of The Office, and it was a fun show. I really enjoyed that show. It ran for one season, not a very long season at that, and it ended. It was canceled because of the low ratings, and I think honestly they should have gave it another season, possibly moved it to Hulu, and it might have been more successful. But I think they just didn't really have any faith in the series. It wasn't an immediate grab, and it failed. And that was it. From what we heard about the Muppets, from that show ending, I think it was 2017. That show came out, ended in 2018. Early 2018, I believe. I don't remember. I might be getting dates wrong. But anyways, so then Disney Plus rolls around and they announced two Muppet projects. There's an unscripted Muppet show, and then there's another Muppet show that got canceled. And we're not really sure why to this day, but there was also an interesting story. Steve Whitmire, I believe was his name, the original voice of Kermit the Frog. Not the original voice of Kermit the Frog, but he was the voice before the newer voice actor was fired for some allegations. All I'm going to say is it's disappointing he was fired, and his replacement was a decent choice, but there was a lot of controversy when Muppets Now came out, and the voice didn't sound exactly like it was supposed to, and I think we need to give him more time in the role to see what happens. He was only voicing Kermit for like 6 episodes, and in those 6 episodes, there was like a couple minutes. He was barely in those episodes. But yeah, Muppets Now came out, and I don't think it was the show anybody wanted. It was criticized for being too modern, and I feel like it was a little bit too modern. I feel like immediately, years later from now, I'm gonna go back to it and be like, yeah, that show does not hold up very well. You know, it didn't. I don't think it caught on with kids or adults or anyone. I don't think anyone liked it. Um, and there were it kind of just got like a lukewarm response at best. So it seems like Disney is trying to find a way to reboot it. So I'm going to offer a couple choices here um, of what they could do and what I think could really work. And here are a couple of my ideas. The first one is holiday specials for Disney Plus. Now we've had Christmas movies for the Muppets before. There's obviously the most famous one, which is A Muppet Christmas Carol, which is great. Don't get me wrong, I love that one. But that's not necessarily what I mean. They could adapt more classic Christmas stories, like maybe do maybe like Elf with the Muppets. Maybe have like a movie where Gonzo plays Buddy the Elf. That probably never happened, but that kind of be cool. But here's what I'm saying: take now they did like a couple Christmas movies for TV. There was the one, I think it was A Very Muppet Christmas or something like that, and then there was Muppets: A Letter to Santa. And I would do better version of those with more money backing into them. Put them on Disney Plus, maybe like an hour or an hour and a half. Just make specials. And I put them on Disney Plus. And if these do good, do more. You could do a Thanksgiving one. You could do a Halloween one. You could do different stuff. I think it's an easy way with very low risk, right? Because if, let's say, the special comes out and it isn't loved and people don't like it, cool. You don't have to make a sequel. For like a show, there's kind of like, well, you have more episodes coming out. So if that episode has low ratings, all the other episodes have low ratings, and it becomes a thing, and you don't really want that. So specials are a low risk, and it also would feel irritating if they did another TV show that got canceled after one season. That would be a negative thing. They've done that twice. At least we think so twice. I don't think Muppets Now is coming back for a second season. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's a good way to handle it. It takes the Muppets to something they started as. They used to, before Muppet Show, not before Muppet Show, but like during the Muppet Show era and like before the Muppet movies, they'd have like, they have specials on holiday specials with other characters, and you could do that again. Bring it back to that. Have fun with that. There's plenty of Muppet Christmas specials out there. And, you could do more. Why not? I think that would be a very good get for Disney Plus. Disney, obviously, last year they had holiday specials for Star Wars and High School Musical and stuff like that. Muppets would fit very well into that. Holiday season, holiday specials, why not? And, they have like Christmas movies on there that they made for Disney Plus, like Noel and stuff. So yeah, it'd fit very well into that. I think they could do that. And my second option is this. At Disneyland, they used to have Star Wars parody figures with the Muppets. So my next option is something that would do incredibly well and be a big deal. And this could go to theaters or Disney Plus. I would more like a theater option, but we'll see. And this would be a Muppets Star Wars parody movie. Now, you could make this a whole trilogy of movies if you want, just parodying the original trilogy. Or you could just make one long movie parodying all the movies. Right? Whatever you want to do, I think a smartest move would be a trilogy, and the first one parodies A New Hope, the next movie parodies Empire Strikes Back, and the next movie parodies Return of the Jedi. Gonzo would be Darth Vader, whatever you want to do. You could do all these cool things. I think these are the best options for how I would reboot the Muppets and bring them back to public consciousness. I think the Muppets Star Wars parody movie will never happen, but that is something I've dreamed of for happening a long time, ever since I saw those figures back when Star Wars Detours. Is that the ride? I don't even know, but it was opened a long time ago. I can't remember the name of the ride. I was like 8 at the time, so that, and ever since I saw that, ever since I saw those Star Wars parodies figures, in the gift shop, I immediately knew that's something I want. I want a Muppets parody movie. I really want that to happen. I don't know if it will. A Muppets Star Wars parody movie or holiday specials. These are your best options, Disney. One movie. I think the Muppets Star Wars parody movie would do incredibly well. I think it would be something people would just have to check out. And there's been all kinds of parodies of A New Hope, like the Family Guy ones and stuff. But I think this is the best idea. I think this is something that I'd like to see happen. I don't know if it ever will happen. I'm a huge Muppets fan. Something I want to happen. Doubt it ever will, though. As a huge Muppets fan, though, I will have died and gone to heaven if they make this movie a reality.